Alrighty, here we are. We're going to be working on problem number B4 in your book, and it's found on page 272 toward the bottom. Now, one of the things that the book already does that gives you is the information concerning the payroll. You'll see that you've got the allowances for marital status, and you get that from that figure that's there for each employee. The single plus three, single one, meaning the dependents, and you have their previous earnings from beforehand, $37,000, $48,400. Then their current salary or earning, okay? So one of the things that you have to see is that today, during this time, they made the earning of having 1,500, and then you've got the 1,990, 2,060, and the 860. This could be a new employee, we don't know. And of course, the totals for the bottom. You have their gross pay. Remember, this is gross pay before taxes are taken out. Now, when you add gross pay to their earnings, then this is their current earnings before taxes, okay? Before the taxes that they have. So you add all of this information in, and then from this information, we're then going to go ahead and work with the taxable earnings, the federal income tax, the state income tax, the Social Security, which is broken up into two, which is your OASDI and your Medicare, the fact that they have union dues, and once all of this is subtracted, then you have their net pay, the check number, and you're also told which ones work in the areas of production and which ones work in the area of the office, okay, that you're supposed to be putting in. So, first thing, one of the first things that we're going to do is we're going to calculate then the information for the FICA and the Medicare, which is these two right here. So to show you how to do that so that you're not worried about how to do it, you take your information right here, okay, the information of their earnings. So you're going to take then where's my calculator? For example, the 1,500, okay? That's how much you're making. Times then the 6.2, okay? Which is, then you go ahead and you multiply times 6.2%, and you get $93. This 93 is what you put right here, okay? So then when you multiply 6.2 to 1990, you get 123.38. So let's go ahead and do it to clear and make sure that that's what we're getting. So 1990 point times 6.2%. Again, here you go. You get the 123.38 that you're supposed to put in for the portion of OSDI. So then again, when you go ahead and you multiply 6.2 by the amount that's taxable, 2,060, you get the 127.62. When you do the 860, okay, you get this amount as well. All right. Now for the Medicare is different. And notice it also says that it's 6.2 on 117,000. Don't let that freak you out. That means that it is up to $117,000 that they've made. Remember, their cumulative earnings or current earnings are only 39 and 67. They're not up to that amount of the 117,000. Don't let that freak you out. Because they're not at that point, we're still going to go ahead and multiply that percentage to figure out how much their tax for a portion of their Social Security is, which is the old age, okay, and the supplementary. That's here. Now we're going to find out how much Medicare is, all right? So for the Medicare, let's clear this out. we're going to find out that Medicare is 1.5% based on how much they've made this month. So we go back to an example of the 1,500. Oops, clear. I messed that up. Why am I doing that twice? 1,500, okay, point times. Now it's the 1.5%, 1.45%. And here we go for the Medicare. This is where you get that amount and you put in the 21.75. You're going to do the same thing for the 1990. You're going to multiply it by what the book says, which is the 1.45 on the earnings. Okay? Same thing for the 860, and you get the 1247. So you're getting the amount of taxes based on, again, their taxable earnings that is here. Now, the difference on the amount as far as the federal income tax, we get that information from figure 7.2. Okay, so we go ahead and go to 7.2, and 7.2 is found on page, that table is found on page 245. Now you're going to go to where it starts, which is the 1,500, and you're going to go over. But remember, when you go over, you're going to ensure that when you go over, it's at the $1,500, right, that they're making. But you're going to go over to the fact that he has 3 dependents. So here, you've got to figure this out right here. You got to go back to that. And then you'll see that for the federal income tax, it's $128. So you have to go to that. You have to go to that table for each one of them, and you'll find how much each one is. Okay? That's for the federal income tax. Now, for the state income tax, it's 8% of the gross pay. Okay? So 8% of the gross pay, you're going to calculate it again. And where do we get the gross pay? Right up here. Same thing, the taxable earnings, gross pay. So if we go to 1,500, you're going to go with your calculator. I'm using mine that's on my computer. 1,500 point times 8%. 8%, voila, you get your $120. Here's your state income tax information. $120 is what you put in. You're going to do that for each one, which is their gross pay. And notice you see it here, gross pay by 8%. And you're going to get these totals right here. Okay? So we get that. We've got the FICA, we've got the FUTA. Now, the SUTA, okay? Oh, wait, hold on. We have to go ahead and put in that they get union dues. So we have to put in the fact that they've got union dues, each one right here. Okay, so they've got union dues. And these are biweekly. Then now the unemployment rate, okay, is 5.4 plus 0.6 on earnings up to 7,000. All right, and here we go. Okay, on the taxable earnings. So the only reason that FICA and FUTA is 0 for these here is because, remember, up to 7,000, they've already gone beyond their 7,000. The only one that hasn't is, for current earnings, is Paul Sherrod. So that's why we find out how much it is for him, for FICA, for federal income tax, and for his state unemployment tax as well. All right. So this is what is taxable for him at this present time. So once we find out who we're going to go ahead and have for these taxable earnings, we're going to continue on with our other worksheets that we're going to fill out. We make sure that we've got all of our totals and that they are correct for everything, because we're going to be using these to determine our next portion. So the next portion is here. Notice we're taking the information of the FICA and the Medicare that we figured out from here, from payroll for each one. Now, the only one that has the FUTA and SUTA is, again, Sherrard Paul. So when we multiply his information that is here, right, he gets only, it's not he only gets, it's the fact that only he is the one that is taxed because he hasn't gone beyond the 7,000. So what you're going to do according to your book is based on how much he made, he's going to get taxed the 5.4, okay? And I'll show you how that works. So if we take, again, because he's only made, all right, if we go back to payroll, he's only made the $860, okay? And we go with what our book says, that the SUTA rate is 5.4. We multiply 5.4%, or 860 by 5.4%, and you're going to end up getting the state unemployment rate of 46.44. And then if you multiply the 860 times the 0.6%, you're going to get up to the $5.16. That's where you're going to get that information. This information is needed and required for the final portion, which is your general journal. Okay, so this is what we're taking. We're splitting it up. So the production expense, where we're getting this number from, go back to payroll. Notice there's only 2 people for production expense, 365. So we record it. Apparently, they split up their expenses. Then we have the office expense, again, only 2 people for $2,850. Now notice, the OSDI tax payable, if you go back to your payroll register, where we're going to find it, right here, the total, right? That's our expense. Then it's also asking for our Medicare payable, which is the $92 right here. So you're going to journalize that. Then you have your state income tax payable and your FIT income tax payable. And you go back to payroll and you're going to find it right here because you're going to add all that up. Okay? Then you're going to look at your union dues. $12 times however many people, 48, payable. And then your salaries payable. Well, where am I getting the salaries payable from? Why salaries payable? When all these people got paid so much, why is salaries payable only that amount? Remember, you take out of the $1,500, you're taking out all those taxes. So this is your net pay, okay? Your net pay for all of your employees comes up to $4,613.83 because you've taken out the union dues, the Medicare, this both together is your FICA or your Social Security, your state income tax, your federal income tax, your federal unemployment tax on just one person. So all of this tax is taken out, then you've got their net pay of how much you're going to go ahead and actually pay out. That's, in a sense, your salaries payable. That's what you owe your employees, okay? That's where you're getting that number from. Okay, then I'm getting my payroll tax expense, $514.97 that I am debiting. That's all payroll. So guess what? All of this adds up to $541.97 for your payroll tax expense because you're putting it all together. They're in separate accounts, okay? But you're putting it in as an expense that you're going to pay this month. But the reason why you're saying that it's in payable is typically all of this is paid on a quarterly basis. So you put it into the account, you're still journalizing it for the month, but you're saying this is how much I owe for all of this for my employees, okay? I hope this makes sense to you guys. And again, remember, you have to start with the payroll register before you can then do the information for here and then the information here. This should help you with your other assignment that you've got going for this week, all right? And again, if you need any help, don't hesitate to contact me, and I'll see you guys on the flip side.